Was it really that easy? Because I don't get it. I don't get your behavior. How could you act like that now when you acted like that before? Is how they feel about you. Good day, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to Milk Honey Rose. I am Mystic Alchemy. Thank you for being here. So this person feels a certain level of, it feels like conflicted. They feel conflicted, okay? I was going to say a certain level of confusion, in which it feels like a little confused as well. It also feels like an affliction within self, because I guess it's both. It's confusion and they feel afflicted because they didn't see you behaving yourself as you are right now. Not to say you're being horrible, but to them you are. To them, this is a disgrace. How you're acting towards them. You never acted this way, okay? It's clearly something different. Something that you never did before. So how could you be so cold now? I just heard, how could you be so cold? How could you be so cold now when all they got from you before was the hate? How is that? It feels like you really got fed up. You were overwhelmed with a certain way that they behaved themselves. And it feels like someone who is done putting up with certain behavior from someone, because you recognize, I don't have to deal with that. Why deal with that when I don't have to? And also, you know that you didn't deserve to be treated that way because you didn't give that type of energy to this person. So you felt the disrespect. You felt the uneasy around them, this uneasy feeling, because you knew that your intuition was telling you that there's much wrong with the dynamic of the relationship. This relationship did not feel suitable for you. You recognized that what you felt before for this person has diminished. So you moved accordingly. And kudos to you, because I feel like that makes sense to me. Under certain circumstances, of course, because sometimes things get tricky when there's more depth, I want to say, in a relationship. When there's more depth, it doesn't feel like, well, for some of you, you might have a child with this person. And anytime you have a child, you really want to think about how to move a little more. And you move not only for the well-being of yourself, but you move for the well-being of your child, because it's not just you anymore. However, the decision you made, I feel like, from what I'm getting in this message, it was for the health of you, as well as, if you have any children, your children or your child. Because clearly this person was not a healthy choice for you. So this could be someone that has some type of substance abuse, anger issues. It feels like something like that. Like something was wrong with this person that you just could not tolerate, because why tolerate when you don't have to? And why put up with disrespect when it's not, it was unnecessary. It feels like unnecessary disrespect. Not to say, the only time you check a person in such a way is when you're disrespected. And I feel like you had to check someone, and you also checked out because you realized this is not the person I want to be with. So now they feel offended. They feel offended because you Your energy shifted. You changed. But you changed for the better, because you may have been actually putting up with that energy and exposing your child to certain ways of being, just staying in a toxic relationship, as well as having, I don't know, it's like staying in a situation that's not healthy, because it can be detrimental to you and your child if you have one. This message is heavy on a child being involved. Not all of you have a child. However, this message is resonant, or will be resonant, for many of you that have a child and you had to leave from the mother or the father of your child because they were not a healthy person to be with. This could be someone that likes to party a lot, very promiscuous, cheats a lot, okay? Someone could have contracted a STD, possibly, okay? So it's to the point where whatever it was that assisted you in realizing that it's more beneficial, for you to leave as opposed to stay, it feels like it was valid. Now, everyone's situation is different, and you'll know if this message does resonate with you or not. It feels like you did the right thing. You know, anytime you know that your psychological well-being is going to be tampered with, and you have a job to do, you have a divine destiny to get to, and there's someone in your life that is preventing you from being able to accomplish your divine destiny, oh, they gotta go. That's quick, fast, and in a hurry. You don't even have to think that much about that. That's like a cut and dry situation, if you ask me. And this is what this message feels like as it's coming to me. And it's crazy how those who cause such pain and trouble in someone's life, regardless of who it is, many of those types of people have the nerve to feel some type of way when one no longer accepts that behavior, and then they get mad. And that's exactly what I feel here in this message. Like, how could you, and I feel like this is you speaking, how could you try to stop me from accomplishing my divine destiny, for my soul's growth, for my life's journey in this lifetime, which will assist me in future lifetimes? How could you be mad at me for removing myself from you for your bad behavior and from your nasty attitude? You know, that type of stuff is what I'm picking up on. For them to go out and be horrible and then come home and be horrible. No, honey. No. That is unacceptable. And you did the right thing. This person is off their rocker. Absolutely. For trying to do such a thing. Or actually, it feels like they did it for a while. They did. And you wanted it to work. And you tried to stick it out. You know, you might have even said, let's go to counseling, relationship counseling, marriage counseling. Let's try this thing. However, every time you turn around, it's like they ended up becoming worse than they were before. So overall, they're just going to have to be mad. And hopefully they learn. It's just that the more distorted someone is, the less likely it is for them to learn from their behavior. They'll just never take accountability and always point the finger at you. And this is one of those situations where you must create your own closure. You don't trick yourself into believing that you need closure from someone that you chose to detach yourself from. for the greater good, right? Of self and of your future. You create that closure and you call it what it is and you move on, because anytime one holds on to a person looking for closure, you basically strengthen the soul tie that you have with a person looking for them to apologize when they don't even have an apologetic bone in their body to even fix their lips to apologize. So it's best to let it go, move on, take it as a lesson, and live, right? Okay, so that's what I'm getting. Now, if this message does resonate with you and you were that person that stopped accepting the nonsense from a person that wasn't willing to be acquainted with the best version of themselves, or wasn't willing to improve their attitude, they didn't see that it was necessary. They didn't show that they valued you as much as you are valuable. If this is you and you moved on and you took that relationship as a lesson and you will not tolerate, I heard infantile behavior. I'm just picking that up as like childish behavior. Drop it down in the comments below. That's not me to be continuing to accept disrespect when you know that that's not what you deserve, because that's not even who you are. Those who disrespect get disrespected. Don't get me wrong. However, if you with somebody or if you were with someone and they was just crazy disrespectful and using that as a manipulation tactic to have you feel some type of way so they can go out and do what they want to do, they should be single or with someone else that wants to deal with that, because that wasn't for you and you moved on. Congratulations to you for choosing you in a situation where you could have made excuses for the person, for them to continue to mistreat you and validate them when they're wrong. Good job for not doing that, because a lot of people get stuck there and they are absolutely miserable and their soul cannot activate in such conditions. Honestly, it's not possible. I mean, it could, but that's very rare. I would say that sometimes a person's bad behavior towards you can be a catalyst to you activating, because you come to an understanding that you should not be treated that way and you move accordingly. So if that's you, drop it down in the comments below. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you feel in my vibe, especially if this message does resonate with you. If you would like to book a healthy conversation, you can by visiting www.milkhoneyRose.org. Also, you could join the membership here on YouTube for additional content. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.